Congressman, lovely to have a chat. What does Australia mean to you as an American politician?
Well, to me, when you look around the world from the U.S., the alliance that we have with Australia is about as deep and easy and natural as any other country. And sitting on the House Armed Services Committee and chairing the Sea Power subcommittee, we get a pretty sort of front row seat in terms of just the incredible integration between our two navies and expeditionary forces. So, and then, that's just really one aspect. There's just so much more in terms of, sports with Greg Norman here. I mean, culture. We're basically two countries that are very connected in terms of our democratic norms. And so despite the distance, I think it's as close as any country that I can think of.
What's that thing from the military perspective, and there's a lot of military people here today, you really do get the sense that obviously Australia would learn an awful lot off the big brother, but there's plenty that Australia can sometimes teach and refine the American military system. Is that a reasonable observation?
Well, no question about it. Particularly as the Indo-Pacific region just has kind of moved to the top of the list in terms of, challenges out there. Australia is just uniquely positioned, obviously in the neighborhood, but, just having just a much more sophisticated understanding of neighbors and the day-to-day reality in terms of the challenges, and that I think is really so important to our commanders. I know PACOM in Hawaii, they view the Australian participation, in things like RIMPAC, but also the day-to-day sharing of intelligence. Obviously, Alice Springs is one of the crown jewels of, frankly, all of the Western world in terms of our intelligence. So, again, it's a country that hits way above its weight in terms of, the value that it brings to our alliance and, frankly, to all of its neighbors.
I'm fascinated by the American political dynamic because obviously from afar we watch TV, we see mixtures of outrage. Does this time feel different than others?
Well, I'm in my 7th term in the House, 14 years, so it's never been totally just quiet and placid. We have a vigorous democracy. There's no question that we're in the midst of a really, I think, historic election, fast approaching. The last election, which was just a few months ago, had the largest voter turnout for a midterm election since 1914. And young voters, just shattered all records in terms of participating. So, yeah, it's a little, contentious, but frankly, to the extent that it's stimulating more participation, that's all good. And I think at the end, that's why I'm actually bullish about the fact that we're going to get through this period.
So, like all over the world, Team Red, Team Blue, sometimes they feel like there's much more shouting than discussion. Do you think in this era of Twitter, cable news, and the noise that you're rewarded by the louder you go, you can convince somebody who started the day disagreeing with you that they'll agree with you by the end of the day? Do we still have that capacity?
Definitely, it's alive. Just so this past August, we had close to a dozen members of the House and Senate come to Australia. It was very bipartisan. I co-chair the Friends of Australia caucus with my Republican colleague from Wisconsin, Mike Gallagher, and we can sit down and his voting record and mine don't align perfectly, to say the least. But having said that, I really respect him. He's a very passionate, smart guy who I listen to him, and I think the same is true, particularly because I'm chairman of the committee he's sitting on. But
you got the gavel, bang bang.
The bottom line is there's more interaction than I think meets the eye, and again, I don't want to sound Pollyannish here. We've got really to get more civility and comity in terms of our interactions, but it's still I'm hopeful.
Yeah, Congressman, thrilled to meet you. May the mateship continue.
Okay, terrific.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
sir.